All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the welterweight division, talking about what Floyd Mayweather Jr. had to say about Jaron Ennis, and a comparison between Jaron Ennis, ERROL Spence, and Terence Crawford if they fight right now by a former sparring partner. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, speaking about what very well may be an up-and-coming phenomenon. And I say that because of recent statements by another guy I said the same thing about. Floyd Mayweather Jr. made comments about Jaron Ennis, and also Jaron Ennis, a sparring partner of Jaron Ennis, let people know exactly what he think is going to happen with ERROL when Jaron Ennis fights either ERROL Spence Jr. or Terence Crawford. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you very much for your continued support on the channel. Make sure y'all hit that like button if you like it, dislike if you don't, but leave a comment in the comment section so we can interact, and provided it is a respectful comment where you don't try to throw bricks at me, I will probably, or a good chance I'll respond. If not one, probably the next, but I'll try my best to get to it. But there's going to be a lot of other people in the comment section to chop it up with, so make sure y'all do that. All right, so let's get into this. Mushin Kaysen is a sparring partner with Jaron Ennis, and is a guy that was fighting out of Las Vegas, is fighting now, I do believe, out of Philadelphia, that made a statement about a matchup between ERROL Spence Jr. or Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis. And he, in doing so, made a statement that is very similar to what Sean Porter said, and very similar to what Floyd Mayweather Jr. had to say about Jaron Ennis. And that is that this kid is already one of the best fighters in the world, and very well may be one of those once every decade, every 2 decade type of fighters. And even if they fought right now, Jaron Ennis has an advantage and could probably beat both ERROL Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford in the boxing ring if they fought today. Now, that is some very, very hefty words to come out, and something that unfortunately we're not going to know whether it's true or not. However, I will tell you this from the naked eye viewpoint, and I'm telling you, if you've been around this channel, if you're like I said, if you're a long-time subscriber and supporter of the channel, you know I've been saying this exact same thing about Jaron Ennis for at least 4 years. Now, Jaron Ennis is only 24 years old. He may be 25 years old at this point, and he has 28 fights. I'm not sure how many knockouts. I think he may have went the distance once. He has a no contest, which was going to be a knockout with Chris Van Heerden. But Ben has a lot of professional fights, took a little bit of time off and kind of hit a bump with some promotional issues maybe about 2 years ago. But after he got that worked out, comes over to Showtime and is one of the first people in a very long time that Showtime Sports actually signed to a deal to the network. Note, not many other people have had, like Floyd Mayweather Jr. got a network deal out of Showtime Sports. ERROL Spence Jr. does not have a network deal. Not saying that they wouldn't give him one, but I'm just saying he does not have one. Gervonta Davis does not have a network deal with Showtime. Showtime has a lot of fighters on that network, and a lot of really, really good fighters. First guy that I've seen in a long time get a network deal over there was Jaron Ennis. But Jaron Ennis, the sparring partner for him, said, look, man, nobody's going to beat Jaron right now. And this guy is a cruiserweight. Now, he's a cruiserweight that's coming in to the coming into the rankings, right? So it's not like it's, it's not like he's fighting Marius Bradis or sparring Dorticos or somebody like that, or even a guy like especially not a guy like Alexander Usyk, who was a cruiserweight at that time, right? So not saying that Jaron Ennis can move up and beat any cruiserweight. A lot of times when people say that, I think they're kind of get ahead of themselves a little bit, because like, for example, when Canelo Alvarez is sparring with heavyweight Frankie Sanchez, man, Frankie Sanchez ain't no way that Canelo Alvarez is going to have a real fight with Frankie Sanchez and win that fight. It's just way too much for him. However, when this guy, Mr. Kaysen, was talking about it, it seemed like he was like, no, this dude is strong enough and can bang, really, truly bang with a cruiserweight. But what Floyd Mayweather Jr. said about him was like, look, man, this dude is special. This guy's the real deal. So could Errol Spence Jr., could Jaron Ennis right now beat Terence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr.? I'm going to tell you, man, I do believe he has the ability to do that. If there's anybody that's not named those two guys that I've been looking in the ring and I'm like, who's the most dangerous fight for either one of these guys right now? Giving due respect to Errol and what Errol's accomplished and the other guys that he's beaten, and giving respect to Terence Crawford and what he's done. Just looking at what the dudes look like in the ring before they get into the ring, this kid right here absolutely, positively looks like I would not be surprised if he gets in there with Errol and he beats Errol. I would not be surprised at all if he gets in there with Terence Crawford and beats Terence Crawford. Now, a lot of people in the comment sections are going to say something that is reasonable and something that's right, which is, okay, let me see more. Like, I'm going to wait until we see him beat this guy or beat that guy. Well, the reason I say this guy or that guy is because I don't think that this guy or there's really a name you can put on this guy or that guy. Just looking at what he's done in the ring with competent fighters like Sergey Lipinets and the last guy he fought, Custio Clayton, who really obviously, they were just so outclassed by this guy that it's hard for me to believe that somebody that is saying like a Stanionis or somebody like, even, I'm telling you, even like a Danny Garcia, like if Danny Garcia was at 147 pounds, it is very hard for me to get my head around the fact that Danny Garcia really could even be consistently competitive with Jaron Ennis. Just looking at the way that they fight and how much power Jaron Ennis has, how much speed he has, his defense, his offense to defense. Now, the one guy, I disagree with what the sparring partner said in this regard. And some people could say it's biased. I mean, look, if it's anything, it's biased for a style. If I would say that the guy that he would have the harder time with between Jaron Ennis and Errol Spence, I say the harder problem that he would have was with Errol Spence, because Errol Spence Jr. is a master of what he does. And what he does is very, very, very hard to counter. It is that from a southpaw stance to be able to pressure somebody, take somebody to the body and really wear their body down. If Jaron Ennis is not able to keep him off of him and keep him from doing that, then Jaron Ennis has to show that he can fight that same game as Errol, which honestly, Jaron Ennis admitted that he would have to do if he fought him. He's like, and so did Bozy Ennis. It's like, if I fought Errol Spence Jr., what I'm going to have to do is you got to beat him in his own game. You have to do what Floyd Mayweather Jr. said. It brings it back to Floyd Mayweather Jr. It was like, look, some guys you're just going to have to fight. So I haven't seen Jaron Ennis be able to sit down and fight with a guy like that over a prolonged amount of time when he's really trying to break him down and there really is no getting away because the guy is excellent at cutting off the ring, right? So that to me is really the concern that I have for Jaron in that respect. However, there's nothing that I've seen out of him that would tell me that he would not be able to do it. It may just be something in his bag that I didn't see. As far as all the versatility and all that between him and Terence Crawford, I'm just going to say, man, size. You got a guy that is 5'9" versus you got a guy that's probably 5'8". I've seen Terence Crawford in person. It's probably 5'8". Jaron Ennis is probably closer to 5'10", longer arms. This is Jaron Ennis's natural weight class. So he's really coming down and, and making sure that he, takes a good amount of weight off himself to get to 145. And he's just a naturally bigger guy. And I think he's got bigger power. I think he's got bigger hand speed. I think he's got better hand speed and I just think that would be really tough. But anyway, I want to bring it up and continually bring it up, man, because I just think this dude is one of those special fighters that we may have that really deserves to have people put the spotlight on him so that the system of boxing, we know, will put somebody's light under a basket. I just don't want that to happen, right? Not being disrespectful to any one fighter or the other, but I think that this dude, just like Sean Porter said, just like Floyd Mayweather Jr. says, just like these other guys say, man, I really do believe he's like that. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.